our next speaker and last speaker before lunch. She's a director of security at a startup called Pull Request, and she has created. Was that?
MoveSoft, not pull request.
Oh, MoveSoft, sorry. So at MoveSoft, and she will be presenting about this new tool that she created called VZVOL, which helps users to manage and operate with the ZVOLs and on ZFS. So please welcome Rainbow.
How's it going, guys? Oh, hold on, let me.
Do you need a hand with this?
Yeah, a little bit.
Here's your
Come on.
talk. And then you can do this to present. And then do you want to connect to your other machine?
Oh, no, should be good.
Okay, you're
Here,
just
so-
going to do that just with the slides?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, guys, give me 1 second. I lost a thing. So awkward silence. More awkward silence. Okay, cool. How's everybody doing? You guys having a good time so far? Yeah. Cool. So I'm Rainbow. Most of you probably have no idea who I am. That's okay, because I don't really matter, but woo! Sorry about that bit of a snafu with the employer name. When I first submitted to this conference, I was actually working for a company called Pull Request based in Austin. Since that time, I actually joined the AI ops company, MoveSoft. We're based actually here in San Francisco. I'm out in Colorado, so I'm actually going to meet half the people at my company for the first time in like 2 days after this. I'm Rainbow. I wrote a thing called VZVOL. Everyone else's talks, let me get closer to the mic. Everyone else's talks so far have been like really cool, really interesting, really high level. If you're expecting anything anywhere near that awesome here, you're about to be sorely disappointed, so get ready. I've actually never presented at a conference before, so this is my first time, and I'm slightly terrified, so let's do this. What is VZVOL? Have anybody, has anyone here heard of VZVOL? One person, 2 people, the guys who I submitted to. Okay, cool. You guys know what ZVOLs are though, right? Okay, cool. So, a little bit of background. VZVOL is a thing I wrote to make my life easier when dealing with ZVOLs. So maybe it'll make your lives easier, maybe it won't. This is probably a waste of your time, but we're going to get started anyway. Anybody here ever used IOCage on FreeBSD? Couple people. Okay, cool. So you can think of this like a really, really bad knockoff of IOCage for ZVOLs. So, I make music. My bands are bad ripoffs of other bands. My code's bad ripoffs of other people's code too. So, who am I? Like I said, I'm Rainbow. Most notable thing about me is I've got rainbow hair. Wait, no, that's the wrong rainbow. Sorry, that's not the right one either. I don't know who put these slides together. I went on Fiverr. No, that's me. So I'm Rainbow. I'm the director of information security at a company called MoveSoft. Like I said, we're an artificial intelligence startup. We don't use ZFS. We don't use FreeBSD. This is something I did actually in my personal time, and I'm trying to convince everybody else to kind of hop on, the BSD, the Solaris kind of bandwagon, maybe get some ZFS action going on in there. But that's not really my wheelhouse in the company, so I can only poke people with a stick, often, angrily. MoveSoft was gracious enough to actually, let me be here and take the time off and present today. So, can you guys say thank you to them? A couple of them are watching. So, what is VZVOL? Basically it's a shell script. I wrote it. It's licensed under the 2-clause BSD license. It's a ZVOL management tool. It's actually in FreeBSD ports, so you can just pkg install VZVOL if you want to give it a try. It pulls in a crap ton of dependencies. In and of itself, it's actually a zero dependency program, but it has some optional functions that are enabled by default on the port. to make your life easier, and those do have dependencies. So I'll get into that in just a second. It's fairly easy to use. I'll be doing a demonstration at the end of this, so you'll see. It's just a couple flags, and you're up and running. It's written in SH, POSIX compliant SH. No bashisms here. If any of you have ever followed me on Twitter, you know how much I hate bashisms. So it is properly POSIX compliant SH. It'll run on anything with a Bourne shell. Originally, it's really targeted for allowing you to make use of ZVOLs with jails, virtual box VMs. It's actually kind of how I got started. A little bit of a story there. I'll get to that in a second. And other virtualization environments like Beehive. It's meant to make your life easier. It's not magic, as cool as that would be. It can't do your taxes. There is no pot of gold. I'm sorry. I know the name Rainbow's a little misleading. It's not world peace in a box. That'd be pretty cool too, but that kind of get away from what I actually wrote it for. And it's not going to do anything for a file system that isn't ZFS. So everybody else, you're out of luck. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I have like no actual monitoring feedback, so not used to it. So some features of VZVOL. Sorry for blowing out everybody's ears. Whoops. So it's easy to use. It creates, deletes, and lists your ZVOLs for you. Can manage them according to type. There's actually 2 types in it. You can either create a normal ZVOL with nothing fancy added to it, or it'll actually automatically create a shim VMDK for you if you want to use your ZVOLs with VirtualBox. That's kind of a pain in the butt. You got to remember some weird VBox manage command. Funnily enough, that's how this all started. I could never remember the command. I literally just wrote a shell script that was supposed to act as an alias and take 2 arguments. And then it became a couple thousand lines of code when I decided to expand it. You can also format your ZVOL with various file systems. So instead of having to remember, like the mkfs.ext2 command that goes with it, it's just one flag that you add to it. The code is fairly simple. It's fairly clean. I did my best to not make it like an abominable eyesore, but, it can always use a little bit of help. And as a bonus, it will not steal your soul. I can't absolutely guarantee that, but I've done a pretty good job of making sure there is no soul stealing going on. So that's why I wrote VZVOL. I could never remember that. This is terrible. Anyone at Oracle, you should feel bad. You're bad, and you should feel bad. So that's actually why originally it was just supposed to wrap this. It's is it demo time yet? I'm not. Yeah, let's do the demo. So let me see if I can actually get it. Does this have internet access? Can I get a terminal up? Yep, cool. Oh. Sorry, I don't normally use a Mac. I've got a ThinkPad P51 with FreeBSD on it, so. Oh, God, okay, hold on.
I think it's a problem with the screen.
How do I, all right, hold on.
I think this height is good.
Are we good there?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, I didn't want to like accidentally, show off Matt's screen, but he's the one who brought his laptop to a conference and let everyone use it, so not my OPSEC problem. So give me 1 second. I just got to shell into a box I set up just for this. If I can actually remember what the domain is for it. Typos are always fun. Okay, so we're shelled in. So the first thing is, like I said, VZVOL. It's a package. So at least on FreeBSD, I do build Linux packages. It is tested to work on Linux, but that is not a primary platform that I support. So any extent bugs on Linux, I don't really test it on Linux myself. If anyone here runs it on Linux, you give it a try, file a bug report, whatever. So here's what VZVOL looks like. So we got one up already, and that's the output of list. It's basically just pulling in the information from ZFS list and searching for ZVOL tag datasets. So it's not anything particularly fancy. It has some nice output. If you can see type raw, that just means that there's no VMDK. So we're going to create one on the fly using the tool. Somebody give me a name for the volume and give me a size. Not going to name it tank. All right, we'll call it Trinity. And how big are we making it? 5 gigs? Cool. So the thing about this, first of all, is there are a couple flags that go with it. VZVOL does have to either be run under sudo or as root right now. You can't run it as your normal user, obviously. It does a little bit of weird stuff in the background when you're running it as sudo to make sure it's setting permissions for the right user so you can actually use the ZVOL yourself. I need to clean up the DevFS stuff that permissions. It gets a little wonky. There's some code cleanup to do there, but I could use some help. So so the first flag we're going to provide is TAC-T, and that is just to say the type. So there's only 2 options: raw and I can't remember if it's VirtualBox or VBox. So we're gonna find out. I never use that functionality anymore. So S is size. You can specify it in megabytes or gigabytes right now. So we're just gonna do 5G. You can also do 1024 large M if you want to do it and specify it in megs. I don't know why you want to do that. Those are the only 2 types of options it takes right now. I need to expand that and make it a little smarter about actually dealing with appropriate size. And then TAC-V is just going to be the volume name. You have to specify that. There's no way around it. So it does some testing. It also creates the VMDK. Make sure that it's in the proper location. And if we go ahead and list it again, this screen's a little too small. Hold on. Okay, well, you can see there's a bit of an output problem now with the path, but yeah. So you can see it creates a VMDK right then and there, and everything's happy. You can also do a couple other things like format it with a file system. As you can see right now, it says FS, none. We can go ahead and let's see, what file system should we try and format Trinity as? No, explicitly 0 support. Okay, let me see if I can remember the appropriate flag. I can't, so I'm going to read the man page. We actually have a man page. Oh, and you can change the pool you're adding it to. It has some auto select logic. So it'll either, because I wrote this on FreeBSD originally, it'll either, it'll pick the first, by default, the first Z pool that you have. If that one's named boot pool, which is normally the case on a full disk encrypted FreeBSD installation with ZFS, it'll move to the second pool. But you can always override that, and you probably should. Now, if I remember, there should be, format option there. Oh, sorry, UFS. So it'll ask you if you want to destroy everything. It's going to freak out a little bit, and then it prompts you. You can override it with the TAC-F flag. That's more for automation, like if you're using this as part of another script. Otherwise, yeah, probably let it ask you. Now we can go back to list. And sorry for the terrible output, but if you look now under FS, it's showing UFS, and it is a UFS system. So it's perfectly usable as a UFS disk on just about anything. All right, so that was the demo. I'm going to get to a little bit more information about this. I realize that was probably the worst demo you've seen all day, but not my fault. Like I said, I'm new at presenting. Oh, wait, was that the only demo you've seen all day? Oh, cool. I have a really, really short memory. So a little bit about this. Again, we are on GitHub. It's at github.com/rainbowhackerhorse/VZVOL. I'm going to be moving it to its own organization page soon. Right now, we're at version 0.7.0. More features are coming soon. There's some bug fixes that still have to be done. Oh, God, please help. I'm really bad at this. Also, as of literally 20 minutes ago, we actually have a logo designed by my lovely girlfriend, Eileen. And yes, it's a horse, and it is dealing hard drives like they're poker cards. So don't ask me why we thought that was a good idea. Something about logical drives. All right, so that's kind of the conclusion of the worst presentation you'll see all day. I made it through it without a panic attack, so woohoo! Anybody got any questions about this horrible monstrosity I wrote? Yeah, no, wait. Oh, right there. There is no, so the question was, does it do partitioning? Anything that's part of the file system formatting tools, you can technically pass through. Right now, though, it's a little limited. That is a good question. I personally kind of hate partitions, so I would just create more than one ZVOL if I needed that kind of situation. But it is something that you know, I'm sure people would find useful. So I'm perfectly happy to accept any pull requests you guys have for that. And it might be something I do the roadmap. That'd be something definitely we should have for 1.0. Anyone else? Because these lights are really bright and I can't see. Right there. No. No, because the VMDK is oh, sorry about that. The VMDK is only a little itty bitty shim file that points to the ZVOL. So it has absolutely nothing to do. In fact, you can't even manage that VMDK with VZVOL. It's automatically deleted when you delete the ZVOL, and it's automatically created if you specify that you want a VirtualBox type ZVOL. That's it. No. It has absolutely nothing to do with it. Every part of this program works specifically on the ZVOLs themselves, and everything else is just kind of fluff around it. Oh. Okay, so the question is, when you're creating a VirtualBox type VZVOL, does it create the? Does it automatically route the VMDK to a guest VM? Is that kind of where what your question is? No, that's on you, dude. I as little interaction with VirtualBox as possible. The only VirtualBox utility that gets used as part of VZVOL is that VMDK create option. So no, it's not going to do any of that. That's kind of out of scope. If you want to attach that to your VM, you go right ahead and do that with other tooling. That's not going to be part of it. Right now, no. It kind of defaults to the default directory. I probably should add a function for that. It'd be a quick, easy thing to do. Just add a flag and then an override for the variable that sets the path. So that could be something to add. If you want to go on the GitHub page and drop that in as an issue, that's something I can do this weekend. Yep. Who? Where? There's a question somewhere. Oh, Alan. See, I actually didn't know that. So no, it doesn't set that flag. It sets a custom flag for FS type when you're formatting. But as far as any other tripping over my own tongue here. As far as any other types or properties, no, it's not setting them. I actually wasn't aware that property was a thing. So maybe you and I can talk later about the benefits of properly setting that, and maybe that's something I can bring in. For just in case anyone didn't hear, Alan's question was whether or not it set the whether it was a raw ZVOL or a GOM type ZVOL. So, and the answer again was no. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, cool. Thanks for having me.